question. Ryan Krebs, is he going to come forward? Ryan, you want to come in? Ryan Krebs also is a UCLA grad in political science. Ryan?
I was basically born in Michigan near Detroit. Moved out here to Southern California when I was around 10. Grew up in the area. My dad's a toy designer. My mom's a piano teacher. Grew up in a pretty fun environment. After high school, I went to Moorpark College locally. Ran, in fact, it's the only community college in the state, or probably the nation, that has an on-campus zoo. So it was pretty interesting. I was student body president there. A very cool experience, which really helped contribute to my passion for politics, is that I got invited to the White House as California's representative for community colleges. And seeing government work firsthand and being able to advocate for students, to me, is very fascinating. It shows that even students and everybody can make an impact on the world. For college, I transferred here to UCLA. I was heavily involved on campus with a few different organizations, which include USAC. I was an RA last year up in Reber Hall, and also I was in the Sigma Eta Pi entrepreneurship fraternity. And at the same time, I also started up some ventures, such as a consulting business to help out students with the transfer process to from community colleges to UC and a four-year school, and other ventures as well. And most recently, I've been appearing on some episodes of Larry King Now as a political panelist, discussing the election as it relates to students. I'm on a panel of current students at UCLA and recent graduates as well. And we discuss, what are students thinking? Like, what are people thinking about this election? Like, what's our perception of the debates that we saw, the conventions that we saw, and what questions do we have for the rest of the panel, which includes, of course, Larry King, Ben Stein, John McCain called in on the speakerphone once, Meghan McCain, and some other individuals.
One of them is Ryan Krebs, a 2012 graduate of UCLA in political science. He calls himself a centrist and a swing voter. He ran unsuccessfully for mayor of his hometown of Moorpark, California when he was 18. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
Yes, Larry. My question is, do you believe that Paul Ryan has kept the momentum going this week from last week's president?
And most recently this week, I got elected to the Westwood Neighborhood Council. It's basically the local advisory board for Westwood. It's the local, board for the LA City Council. When the city of LA says, hey, what's going on here over in Westwood? They talk to the neighborhood council, and we provide our opinion. So I feel very honored to have this position, and I'll do my best to serve the UCLA community and Westwood as a whole, because we are a community of over 40,000 people here on the west side, very dynamic, and there's always something going on, and I want to do my best to represent the community. So here at UCLA, I was involved in the president's office last year in USAC. I was a co-director for external affairs, and we dealt with issues that impacted students on a larger level. I worked with the EVP office. We organized a panel discussion on the budget cuts to the UC system. We brought in some professors. We brought in some UC administrators to talk about what are some of the big issues. Additionally, I also was a STAR, Student Advocate to the Regents, and also that's a great program to go look into. It's with the University of California Student Association, and what that program is basically is where you will go as a student advocate to the UC Regents meetings in San Francisco, usually at UCSF or wherever the meetings are held. And the difference is that at other UC Regents meetings, anybody can go, but yet you sit on one side as a guest. But now with this program, you can actually sit as a guest of the Regents, and you get to talk with them directly. I have an interest in politics, entrepreneurship, and film. I plan to gain experience and work eventually in all three, but at this point I want to be focused in one. And my most passionate interest right now is in startups and entrepreneurship, and finding out what makes a system work, what makes a business work, what are the nuts and bolts that go together to make a business successful. That's what I want to learn at this point to eventually start my own business in the future. And additionally, in politics, I'm very interested. Of course, I'm serving on the Westwood Neighborhood Council, and I'm also interested in finding ways to make an impact, and that's the biggest thing I'm interested in terms of politics, making an impact. Well, my major was political science, and one thing that I learned in political science is it's basically a study of systems. When you think about it, governments around the world are different types of systems, and in political science, you look at these systems and you find out what makes them work and what doesn't work. And as I mentioned earlier, when you think about it, that also comes into play in business as well, or in filmmaking as well, because in all these instances, you have a system that exists, and then you find out what are the components that go into the system. And that's what I find valuable, and what I learned in all my political science classes was we found out the nuts and bolts about what made these systems work, and then I find the ways to contribute these skills to all these different fields of interest that I have. It's a quote: "For the greatest success in life, expose yourself to as much randomness as possible."
It's about pulling all-nighters and setting the curve.
find opportunities and go for those opportunities. And for me, what I learned is a lot of opportunities that came up for me and things that I've done came out of basically I wouldn't say out of the blue, but it's basically I read this, there's another book that I read called The Startup Review, which I highly recommend. And there's a quote in the book, there's a whole part of it called Pursuing Breakout Opportunities. And there's opportunities that exist on the side that might seem kind of out there, but they could be huge. And that's my basic advice. Expose yourself to randomness, try things out. That's what college is for. It's time to try out different opportunities, and then one of these opportunities could be huge.